fiction, science fiction, horror, fantasy, crime, LGBT, thriller.
You have now entered the House of Mystery.
You are back in the House of Mystery, and I'm Al Warren, but what's important is that we have Peaches Gordon here.
Back to being Peaches, also known as, my boring author life is Jennifer Ann Gordon, but I guess Peaches is my, kind of burlesque demon name. I feel like over the episodes it's changed from being the perfect name of a demon to should it be my burlesque name. So I think it's both. Peaches is a demon burlesque dancer, and by day I'm Jennifer Ann Gordon.
Well, it's the same, isn't it?
It's the same.
I didn't know there was
These pictures are the same.
I didn't. I thought you did that all day and night. I mean, it was all.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I was talking to Christopher Golden, and so that's why I was thinking of. So Peaches just came. It just came with the territory. What can I say? I love that guy.
I know, and he coined the Peaches.
Yeah.
The Peaches name for me. So thank you.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I like that. He's a great guy. It's the best thing about doing interviews is meeting some great people, It
is. And we have great people today.
Yes, this is it. And we're going to talk about the new anthology, and it's called Hospital of Haunts. Joining us now is Joshua Lloyd Fox. He's the owner of Water Tower Hill Publishing, who publishes the book, as well as he's a contributing author doing a story in the book, and his wife, editor, Heather Daughrity. So thank you for being here.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah,
I didn't know that the people got free burlesque dances when they got number one spots.
Yeah, you get that orange ribbon, you get Peaches and dancing.
Awesome.
So, thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. As you know, you were a part of our House of Haunts last year, and we want to continue this on. We have plans for 13 of these, and it just keeps blowing up. We're really excited.
Yes, I can kind of disassociate out of my body and reappear other places, so I'm sorry about that. But that was just my way of congratulating both of you on Hospital of Haunts receiving bestseller status on Amazon last night.
Well, who doesn't love a haunted hospital, right? They're just naturally creepy places, even at the best of times.
So let's talk about hospital. What's the concept behind it? What's the idea?
So we have Lychhurst Hospital, which is in West Virginia. It was built in the 1840s, and it's been attracting terrible people and terrible things ever since. So we basically gave that premise to 23 authors, gave them each a part of the hospital that was their very own, and said, tell us what ghost haunts your part of the hospital.
Did you pick the 23 authors, or did you just put it out as a general call and see what happens?
Oh, no. Just because of the way these anthologies are made, you have to pick. It has to be invite only, because if you say everybody write about a part of a haunted hospital, you're going to have, 50 stories about the pediatrics ward and none about, the cafeteria.
And none about the cafeteria. And none about the gift shop.
Alan, to answer your question, this actually came up at one of the panels at AuthorCon, where most anthologies are open calls with a specific theme. Like Heather said, because we set this up as a tour through a specific building where we have to kind of herd the cats as far as stories go, the invite only is imperative. Not that we don't want hundreds and hundreds of people to be a part of this eventually, but it's very difficult to have pared down how many great and amazing authors we know to that 23. And we have had to hurt some feelings. Can't have everybody in every single one of them, but we have 299 stories at the end of this whole thing, and I think we might be able to get around to everybody.
Well, I feel honored that I've been in House of Haunts and now Hospital of Haunts, because your table of contents on these books are fantastic. Who sent out the invites? I know Heather invited me, but I didn't know if it was between both of you. And how did you build up the courage to ask some of the bigger names?
Well, Well, I mean, I sent them out, but Josh and I did sit together to kind of come up with a list of who we were going to ask.
Yeah, she already had House of Haunts last year set up, right? Had already sent out the letters and expanded it a couple of times before we got married. And, you know, I threw my weight around with it as the publisher. But this time, and she was very graceful in allowing me to get more Water Tower Hill authors in this. I run Water Tower Hill as a family. And because of that, we have some amazing authors like Rebecca Cuthbert that's coming up, Lex Christian, Susan Rohde. And they work with and for Water Tower Hill. And she was very nice to say, well, I'll ask Clay McLeod Chapman to just write the foreword so we can have some Water Tower Hill people write a story.
But I'll give you 4 spots.
Yeah, she gave me. And then because I have a brother that's he's a decorated battlefield medic. And this was a, medical theme. And I've always wanted him to write. Well, we all wanted to write. My mother was a writer and we all had the dreams of writing. I wanted to give him that first publishing credit. And I asked him to write a story and he knocked it clear out of the park. His story was fantastic. And so, so we made Hospital much more, I believe, like a family as far as the talk went on this one, while still maintaining, some of our greatest supporters like Jeannie Rector and Mark Rainey, love what we're doing. They've supported us. They've lifted us up maybe, even more than we deserve because as there's so many great people in this industry that do reach back and pull others up. And now, we've done good by them. They've done good by us. And I think we just had Mark and Jeannie both said that they'll do anything we ask them to do. And so that's a big premise that I keep as the publisher and as an author too. You do right by people and they'll do right by you.
I mean, that's the goal.
Well, listen, so what is it that you look for in a story? Like what's, because you pick these, a lot of the authors in this particular case, but do you give them direction or you just let them do as they will and you just take it or what?
Well, first of all, I ask people who I know are good writers to begin with. Everybody who gets invited to this anthology is someone whose work I have already read and I know that they're going to give me something good. And then we just give them a very sort of basic set of, I don't know if instructions is the right word. We tell them the name of the place we're writing about. We tell them a very basic, bare bones history of the place. They choose their room or their ward or whatever part of the building is theirs, and they choose a year or a set of years to write about. And it's basically, it has to be a ghost story. It can't be too extreme because that's not what we're going for. But other than that, this is your space. This is your part of the hospital. Come up with whatever you want. And we purposely ask authors who have sort of different writing styles and backgrounds because we do want the stories to be varied. And it has worked out quite nicely for us so far. We haven't really had a lot of, we had one problem with the last book, but we're not going to talk about that.
It's best not to talk about any of the horror community drama.
When you ask authors who are known for doing good work and for not being part of drama, we work together quite well.
So, and Alan, another thing, because I'm a very disciplined organizer, as not only a business person, we have a process for these now. And so while we allow the authors to pick their area and write their story, there's a couple of levels of editing where Heather will get all the stories in and then she'll reach back out to all of the authors to kind of try to combine elements that we like. For instance, Gage Greenwood wrote grackles into his, and we actually personally love grackles. We have them here in Oklahoma as an invasive pest, and so she liked the element of the grackle in Gage Greenwood's story and reached back out to 5 or 6 of the other authors and said, "Is there any way you can put a grackle in your story?" Or we have a little ghosty boy that was written by. Who did the daycare?
Well, no, that's not where he started.
Where did he start?
There were 2 stories turned in that had little ghost boys in them, and I said, well, this could be the same little boy.
Right.
So we had him show up through multiple stories, and then he actually gets his backstory in my story at the end of the book. We find out where this little ghost boy came from. So yeah, it's just a lot of picking out elements from the different stories that could be kind of slid into other stories, so that in the end they all really feel like they connect and form a cohesive history of Lychhurst Hospital.
Yeah, and while you're doing that, I'm working on the floor plans and the logistics of the look and feel of the book, artwork, setting out the different sections, headers and footers and all that, and I share that with the entire team as I'm doing that as well. So, and we create the chats and the Facebook groups so that everybody's aware of the entire thing, full open transparency, and as we finish one aspect of it, I get buy-in. Like I remember Jennifer did the surgery, and she asked me if it was a multi-floored surgery room like they did back in the day, and it actually worked out really well that where we had put the surgery in the floor plans could have been multiple floors, and she added that into her.
I really appreciated that, Josh, because I know your first draft at the floor plans is not really rough, but it's not a fully formed architectural drawing yet. So I was like, is this grid on a piece of grid paper? Is that a 2-floor thing? I love that you guys kind of brought this up already, because that was going to be one of my questions for Heather. These House of Haunts and Hospital of Haunts, it goes far above and beyond your traditional anthology, where it's just a group of stories. You write poetry, you write inter-chapter blurbs, you write your own story. So my question was when that really starts, but I think you already started to answer me by saying, was your story, I think it's the Dark House, the Darkest House? Is that the title of your story, Heather? The Dark House. Did you already have the idea for your story before you read everybody's, or do you allow the work to happen and then all of a sudden you understand how to weave everything?
I absolutely had no idea what my story was going to be until I read everybody else's.
Well, that's the catalyst.
And
right?
we did that with House too, because my story is the last one in the book, and I try to sort of wrap things up, bring it all together, figure out how things started, because although every story has its own place in the chronology of the Lychhurst Hospital, they're not in the book in chronological order. You might get something from 1840, and then something from 1970, and then back to 1890, and it goes back and forth. But you definitely can tell by the time you get to the end that you've read a whole history of a place. And my job is to kind of take all those things and bring them together. And I do we call them the tour guide parts, the introduction and the little the introduction to the whole thing, and then the introductions to each section of the book, where I give a little teaser of the stories that are going to come, the rooms that the reader is going to be going through. And then I get to the end, and my story ties it all together. But my story forms in my head as I'm reading everybody else's story, thinking, oh, we could do that, I could pull this in. So yeah, I just give people the very basics at the beginning, and then I sit back and wait to see what all of our fantastic authors do and build my part of the book on what they've done.
I think you've both done such a great job with I feel like your covers are so inspiring. Like whoever's working on your covers with both of you, it's amazing, because I think that image alone of the hospital really sets a good stage, for all of these authors to play with. Where did Lychhurst Hospital come from in your brain?
Well, like I said, who doesn't love a haunted hospital, right? And I knew when I started this series that I had a very specific, sort of simple but impactful look that I wanted to these covers. And Christy Aldridge does our cover design on these, and then we have our other cover artist, Susan Roddy, who takes Christy's artwork and makes it into the whole cover. But I knew that I wanted this hospital that was obviously old and creepy and kind of run down looking. And the hospital that we actually based everything on, the pictures we shared with the group and said, this is what we're going for, was the, what was it called? Connecticut Valley Hospital, something like that. I should have had that written down. But it is based, look-wise at least, on a real hospital in Connecticut that served many purposes over the years and is actually, I think, still open today in a much more modern sort of version of itself.
To give you an idea, Jennifer, like House of Haunts, she had already had the cover with Christy done before we really kicked off, and we just needed to continue that forward. And so last year when we finished House and we started talking about hospital, we found the pictures of the Connecticut hospital and started using that as a basis. We now have done that with next year's Hotel of Haunts, based on a hotel in New York City, but our hotel is going to take place in California. And so we really do, we get a place and it sets a form, and then we build off that foundation. And we've done the exact same thing now for a hotel that we did for hospital that you'd already figured out for house. And I feel like it's with some tweaking and with some changes, we don't want to, get stale, but the basic logistical templates are there for success. And hospital is already outpaced house, and we're hoping next year hotel will outpace hospital.
I mean, that's the beauty of any kind of series. I feel like every time a book comes out, it just almost relaunches everything else that comes before it.
That is true. We have had an uptick in sales of House the last few weeks since Hospital came out. So not going to complain about that.
So I think we hit kind of a jackpot here on a logistical setup, a different kind of an idea for an anthology, and we're gonna milk this puppy until people stop buying them.
I can't wait to see what your architectural renderings are going to be like on book 10 through 13.
I've already thought about Hangar of Haunts with the airplanes. We've thought about Highway of Haunts with the ghost highways and stuff. So yeah, we do have all the...
Oh, Highway of Haunts would be so good because you could have gas stations and seedy motels and the breakdown lane.
We find renderings of what that looks like, a desert landscape with the dark road running through it, or like you said, a kind of a rest stop somewhere that's, dilapidated and disgusting, but holds secrets. We can play with that in a million different ways, and we're really excited to keep doing this in a new, fresh way every time, I think. And I think the reason we're not doing just specific buildings, they are all HOHs, but we're not doing specific buildings, so we can play with different elements like that.
Well, yeah, but are you doing a burlesque one? Burlesque dancers?
No, but...
We do have a Hollywood of Haunts.
Hollywood is the closest we're going to get to that Hollywood of Haunts, 23 haunted movie sets. So one of them could be a burlesque movie set.
Or the set of the movie Burlesque.
Oh no. Who is haunting Christina Aguilera?
Oh, there you go. Big on Christina. Oh, but the big question that everyone's waiting to hear: the Joker, Folie à Deux. So what's your take? Yes or no? Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Oh, thumbs up for me. I actually did see it.
Yeah, you're a yes.
I think I'm the one person that saw it.
No, I read a treatise on it, but about what it actually was supposed to be and why it's getting 1-star reviews, because it's not what the comic book geeks wanted it to be, but what it was actually supposed to be, and I cannot wait to see it. We had author on this week, man.
Josh, I know you. I think you'll love it a lot. I think both of you will. It's definitely not the movie that people thought was going to be a sequel. I read someplace where somebody said it's the sequel. It's not the sequel you want. It's the sequel you need.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I saw that too, and it really plays on this social concept of othering. Now that is insanity what we as a society name it, or is it something different? And I love the first Joker so much, not for the comic book aspect, but for the art of it. And I'm looking forward to see this next one.
Well, there we go. So listen, let's talk about where people find out about the new book, find out about you, the publishing, and the whole works. Give all that information.
Yeah, absolutely. Our main website is watertowerhill.com. Everything can be found through there, including our 32 wonderful authors we have signed through 2026. On social media, I'm Joshua Lloyd Fox. My wife is Heather Daughrity. I don't know of anybody that can't find us using those outlets.
Now, we're going to have everything up on our website as well, so thank you for being here. Hospital of Haunts. Get your copy today.
Yeah, thank you. And I know you're going to interview some of our other writers, so I'm really excited to get other people's take on this entire process, including Jennifer's, who's in the family as well. So thank you, guys.
This has been a production of the House of Mystery Radio Show. To find out more about our show, guests, or hosts, go to our website at houseofmysteryradio.com.